The first part I'm going to talk about is the instrument here. This is how I like to start people off. Here's your violin. When you're not playing, you're just walking around or something like that. You hold it like a gun. Have your hand around there like this. Now, the reason for that is, of course, protect the instrument.
Yeah.
And keep it from dropping and things like that. Next thing, when you get ready, when you're standing or sitting in the proper position, you want to stand up straight. You want to put your toes out at a nice angle and standing up even, and nice and tall. You probably have pretty good posture, anyways. So, when you're picking up the violin, you put your hand around what's called the heel of the instrument, and with your fingers over the top like this.
Something like this?
No, not like that. You have to have a good, firm hold. Just put your hand right in there.
Oh, okay.
On the heel, not around the fingerboard, but just like that. Okay? And then you can hold the instrument firmly. You don't want to hold it by the neck, because the neck is only attached by that little area down there, and it can easily come apart. So extend your arm straight out that way, and the same direction as your toe is pointing. And then, when you're facing this way, that's in the direction of your toe. And then what you do is just simply turn the violin around the other way, and then you can bring it up, around, and under your right there, under your jaw, right there. That's where it kind of hooks. So it's up there on your shoulder, and it's going to be really awkward right now because we haven't gotten the shoulder rest. The shoulder rest positions the puts the violin up there so that you can, hold it without much effort with your hands.
Gotcha.
Let me grab a shoulder rest.
Okay.
It goes on pretty much. You want to stand over there. It looks like it might not fit. And we'll see, because that's going to might fall off a little bit, but that's going to work for you now. And so we have that. Make sure before you even put the violin there, standing, your posture's right. Your the center of your where your ribs come together is coming out like that, and then you can.
That just feels awkward right there.
Now that's going to be a little more easy to hold up without, you need a little bit of assistance with this hand, but the whole idea is that you want to be able to move your hand around the instrument, like that. Okay, so that's the violin, and now it shouldn't be up, and it shouldn't be down, and you shouldn't be like that, but it should be pretty much parallel to the floor. And you don't want it tipped too far this way, but you don't want to over-exaggerate. I know there's teachers that teach, keep the violin flat on a flat plane, but that's not necessarily true.
Like this feels natural right now.
Yeah, it's going to become a natural feel there. So let's set your violin down, and then we'll do the bow.
Okay.
Your bow is held with your right hand.
Yeah.
So take the bow in the middle with your left hand like that, and then just hold it out like this, because I'm going to show you how this works. See how you can go like this.
I was looking online, and I think about right there is where I had it online.
Okay, and I'm going to give you a little more information.
Sure.
than they give you. Is if you look at your hand, you can, if you curl your thumb in and put your two fingers over your thumb like that, and then keep these two up like that. That's primarily what holds the bow, is that type of a grip.
Okay.
Now, if you apply the bow to that, you will be putting your thumb inside. Not right inside the frog, but you can see where it's worn. I have it worn out there. You kind of put it on the stick. and your thumb is pulled in, then your other two fingers will overlap like that.
Okay.
Okay, see how it bends over and grips?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're like that. That's pretty good. Now what you need to do at this point is make sure there's flexibility in there. And the way to do that is to draw the bow into the palm of your hand. You're going to hold it with this hand just in case you don't want to drop it. You're drawing the bow into the palm of your hand, and that's a little exercise to condition all your ligaments so that you're going to have flexibility. And you can do that with a pencil when you don't have a bow. They're called pencil push-ups.
Okay.
And you can just hold a pencil and do this kind of motion.
Okay.
See, it's kind of slipping out, but you can hold it with this hand. Because you want the thumb to have flexibility. The tendency is for people to lock their thumb open like that.
Gotcha.
And you don't want to do that while you're playing the violin, because everything else from there down gets stiff. You want flexibility there. So you want this kind of thing.
Okay.
Kind of looks like a little rodent or something on this one. So you can do that with a pencil. I tell the kids at school, when you're bored in class, just take a pencil and do your pencil push-ups.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing with the bow. So we have this for grip. That gives you a firm hold on the bow. Also gives you flexibility. These two fingers here, obviously. Now, okay, another thing is, even though, let's have a rabbit kind of bowing over like that, because your wrist needs to be bent in this direction and not in that direction. Needs to be bent in this direction. You can just keep holding it there, just in case. That way, when you drop these two fingers on the bow, just drop them down, because that's going to provide the balance. Those are your two little balance weights on the bow. So you have grip and flexibility and balance.
Yeah.
Okay? Now the tendency for a lot of beginning violinists is to flex their thumb and put their wrist this way. So you have no way to move that bow unless you move this part of your arm, like that.
Okay.
But you don't want to move this part of the arm. You want that's not how you bow on this one. I don't know, it's everybody thinks that, who's starting out, that's how you do it. The wrist's bent, thumb's bent, a lot of flexibility, and you actually move the bow. Everything moves synergistically, so you have all your joints moving like that. And for extending, you're using your forearm. This part of the arm is used only for lift when you're changing strings. It pretty much stays in position, to an extent of being comfortable. And then the bow's like this. Now let me demonstrate. Because the idea is you want to keep, here's your bridge, and here's your bow. And there's the angle of your violin. So the violin's going out this way, you're facing this way, and looking at whatever, the audience or the music or whatever you have to look at. For practice and things like that, you can glance over and see if things are in the right place, but ideally, whatever teacher is going to tell you is get in front of a mirror. If you want to see what's going on there,
makes sense.
Get in front of a mirror and look at what you're doing, because you're going to get a better angle view. Because what you want to do is draw your bow parallel to the bridge all the way. Now, if you look at my arm and how I'm holding the bow, in essence, at that angle, I am not drawing the bow back and forth like that, but I'm pushing and pulling. Push, pull. It's a push and pull thing, so it's... See, you can see there's very little movement in that part of my arm. Except if I want to go to a lower string. Lower for the next string. Lower for the A. across the bridge and perpendicular to the string at all times, you're using every joint from here to there.
Okay.
You know, but not necessarily this one.
Yeah.
So, and that's the physics behind the violin playing, basically.
Okay.
So, one exercise I tell people to do is, and I don't have one with. Let's see. I think I might have some. This is a little tube. I took a little piece of pipe, or like, I think that's a cutoff from a seed pipe or something. But you can take a tissue roll, which is probably better because it's paper and it's softer. And if you're standing in position, you could take that and just lay it on your shoulder like that. Just kind of just, boom, on your shoulder. Put your bow inside the tissue roll. Make sure you're holding the bow properly. And that will guide your bow in the proper direction.
Okay.
You know, it's basically going in the direction of, say you had a string coming from your nose and your navel, and they meet at some point in the distance out there, okay? And so you have that reference, or a railroad track coming out of your navel or something like that. This would be the train going down the track.
Okay.
You know, you would follow that plane. So that's a little exercise you can do without having your violin and with your bow. And that's going to get you, and it slightly over-exaggerates the reality of playing a violin, but it's better to over-exaggerate that way than to, you know, play your violin like this.
Yeah, which is what I was doing. It was going all over the place back
And
there.
it just slides.
Yeah.
But to get the optimal sound, you want complete perpendicular to the string. And you're getting that nice even sound all the time. Midway between the end of the fingerboard and your bridge gets a nice sound. To get a louder sound, you get closer to the bridge. To get a softer sound, you get closer to the fingerboard. Of course, if you get too close, it starts. It's going to buy us a little time. So, again, feet, violin, out, up, around. Get your bow hold, set your on the D string, perpendicular, and just draw. Now, stop. Get back up on the bottom. Now stop. Now you're going to rock. You're going to drop your arm a little bit so your bow rocks to the A string. Not too far. It's just a slight little drop. So it's important that you complete the stroke every time. Down.
Does mine sound
forward,
off, too?
down. Yeah, you're
Okay. I was going to say, that sounds bad right now, so.
But I just want you to get the concept.
Yeah.
So these two strings going down, I'll adjust you. And this being a new violin, it's probably moving all over the place.
Probably shouldn't have bought new, huh?
No, it's just going to settle in after a while.
Okay.
You're probably going to have to bring it in for an adjustment on the bridge, and what you probably will need to real soon, but that's fine. It's functional at this point. So let's just do a little exercise, and everything. And I like to start people off when you practice. Make sure meter everything, because that's half of music is rhythm and meter and timing and everything. And that's what a lot of people miss when they're starting to learn things. So I start them right off. I say just 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A complete 1, 2, 3, 4 on each string. Then back down, up, down, up, and you can do that. And if you want to experiment around, drop to the E. Now you're using, just for starts, you're going to use about that much.
Okay.
Eventually, as you gain confidence and flexibility, you'll use a little more. And then for shorter notes, we're going to use a little less bow. Now, see where I go with that?
Wow, yeah.
I go towards the center. I'm working off the center.
Okay.
Working off the center of the bow. Working off
Yeah.
the center. For long notes, long bows. Okay? So you want to, maybe if you want to do a whole note, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm done. I'm out of hair.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm done. I'm out of hair. And if you want to get used to, and also, you want to keep your bow straight, everything like that. All notes are great to practice. Little short notes. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now look at my hand.
Yeah.
See, I'm doing push-ups.
Yeah.
Right off the center of the bow. But for now, you can diddle around with fingers, but as far as these lessons are concerned, this week, work on open strings, get your posture, get your bow, get your arm, everything in the right position. Meter everything, make sure everything is timed right, because I think that's probably one of the biggest problems I have with starters is making sure everything is, and I can go a couple weeks and we can start a technique book which teaches all the graphics of playing, the on the music on the written page and how it's interpreted. And then if you want to learn fiddle tunes, there's a whole different approach to that. So I like to do both, because then you have a really balanced understanding of music. So you're not just learning everything from memory and watching and copying, but then if you're learning from a book, you don't know how to watch and copy so much. So my quest is to try to combine the two and give a person a complete understanding of music. What time? We want to go some more? Or?
Either or. I definitely like to get some practice on those notes that you were saying. So you're 1, 2, 3, 4 type of a deal. So
yeah, well, let's just go over this in a couple. First of all, before you start playing, check posture, everything like that. You have your hand kind of on the heel, so it's just out of the way of the strings.
Yeah.
And let's do 4 on the D, 4 on the A. Now, here's another thing. We'll start off with this too. When you're down low on the bow, what you're looking at first is the hair. Okay. So your bow is tipped slightly away from you, away, not towards you. Away from you. So you see the hair first.
Gotcha.
See?
Yeah.
And that's gonna help you with flexing your wrist and arm too. As you draw the bow to the tip, you'll notice that if you're doing everything right, the hair straightens out. And by the time you're at the tip, you're on the flat side of the hair.
Okay.
Now the reason for that is you have more weight. There's more weight down here. Yeah. So you adjust. You adjust by the amount of hair that's contacting the string. By the time you get to the tip, you have the maximum amount of hair contacting the string, so that you can get an even sound. See what I do with my wrist? See, it's straightening away. And that's going to eliminate the tendency that most people do when they start playing violin like this. And a lot of fiddle players, you'll see them play like that. But what bad technique does is limit you. You become very constricted in
a very small part of the bow down there.
In your scope of play. Good technique broadens your scope. You learn how to play much more different types of music. So down, now you don't want to tip it towards you at the tip. Okay. Don't go any more than straight up and down. Now, not to say if you're playing really softly at the tip, you can use less hair.
Okay.
So you use all these different things to adjust the volume
Wow, that's a lot, yeah.
and the weight of the bow. So yep. And also, the tendency is, and it's something to work on by looking in the mirror, whatever it is, your bow floating around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're going to get a whisper sound. Right? When it starts moving up and down the string, you're going to get a whispery sound.
Yeah.
It's going to be an uneven sound.
Okay.
So you want to keep your bow in mind. Go over to the A. Okay, so you don't have to pick your bow up this string. It's just stop, rock, and go. So experiment around your regular quarter note strokes, which are just like 1, 2, 3, 60 beats per minute kind of thing. About that much bow. If you want faster notes, a little less. Slower notes, a little long. So if you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, that'll get you a nice sound, right? If you want to go real fast, like you can't go, but you can use a little bit of bow and still get a nice, even sound. That's good, and your bow grip is good. However, you don't want to lose your grip. I noticed that your bow's about ready to fly out of your hand.
It feels pretty comfortable, I'll say, but
eventually you're gonna go into a nice secure hold on your bow. Now I've had circumstances where I've played and I get really intense.
Yeah.
And I've had the bow fly out of my hand, and fly like a rocket into the air. And I remember we were playing out on the streets in Spain, in Santiago, and we were really good. I was playing with a dance troupe, and it was totally unintentional. So you want to have a good grip on the bow there. So cool.